Hey, what's up everybody? BDO44 coming at you with another video. Alright, so it's like 4:30 in the morning and I've been thinking about my team. Obviously, we got a game today, believe it or not. The Lakers are not eliminated yet. Not at all, even though everybody's putting a nail in the coffin, basically, including myself. But I woke up this morning listening to all the folks that are talking about the Heat, and listening to how they're pretty much, taking over the Boston series. Came in and just mollywopped the Celtics, which makes the Laker losses much easier for me. I don't know how other Laker fans feel, but that's a big deal. The Celtics don't get it. And this is only the third time that both of these teams have been down 0-2 in this 0-3 in the same postseason. It's only the third time that's ever happened, including this year. So when this team, and the first time that's ever happened with them in the conference finals, so we've never missed an opportunity to meet each other. Well, I'm sure we have, but not with the teams being down 0-3 at the same time in the same playoff. So I'm looking at this and I'm saying, okay, let me go check out the Heat and the Nuggets stats because the finals are imminent. And as I'm looking at the matchup between the Heat and the Nuggets, when they had went to the Nuggets and won by like 6, and I'm studying all the numbers and I'm looking at that and I realize I don't feel right. There's something terribly wrong about not taking into account that more basketball needs to be played. I do not believe the Lakers have many chances to win this series from this point. And I don't believe I'm being premature in thinking about the offseason right now based on all the things that are there to see in regards to this series. It ain't just how the teams played. It ain't just that Murray can't miss. It's the schedule of the series, which gives us 1 day's rest. And it's the fact that we got to go back and forth in altitude without any wins accredited to our name, with them only needing 1 win to get to the finals and having our number in close games. I mean, all of those things point to me, tell me this is over. If it ain't over today, it'll be over tomorrow, that kind of thing. This is over. But at the same time, it's like I've watched too much basketball in my life to ever think that with a whole game left to play, plenty can't happen between now and the end of that game that can change the entire outlook of the NBA. Now, that's what comes to me this morning. I don't believe, but that doesn't mean that I'm not smart enough to know that my lack of belief needs to be compartmentalized. And I don't think I engaged in enough of that yesterday in regards to how I was assessing our team. There's more basketball to play, man. We'll probably go out there and lose by 10 tonight or something like that. You know what I mean? That's how my pessimism allows me to think. We can go off into the offseason. I don't believe guys are going to want to go back to Denver tonight. All these different pessimistic things. I do not believe our team wants to go back to Denver. I don't believe our team has that type of fight. I don't believe this, that, and the third. But what I also believe is that sometimes when I'm that serious about not believing the team has come through this season, we've been through a whole lot. I also know our team is very tired, and this is where teams usually end their season and feel confident that they've had a good season. If they fall short, especially against a team that just simply is outplaying them. It's hard for me as a fan because I don't know if my pessimism in regards to us not being able to keep up with them is warranted based on how close the games have been and some of the mistakes, the self-inflicted wounds that we've had happen and we did to ourselves. But at the same time, it's like those games were close. We had to lead in all of those games. We haven't closed them out, and that is a skill. And we've talked about that all season long. Now our team is not very good at closing games. We close by committee and things like that. I was listening to Mike Malone talk about his team. He said that Nikola Jokic called some of the last plays that we were beaten with in the fourth quarter. They essentially said that Jokic and Murray decided that they were they were going to spearhead both sides of the floor in the final minutes of the game and run plays that Jokic had set up for them. Plays that Jokic wanted to run, and they worked. These type of things just make you feel, as a team, like you're up against something that you can't overcome. But I'm not a quitter, man. In life, I've quit a lot of things, so I don't know if that's even the right way to say it. But I don't believe quitting is the right way to go for others or me. There's a better way to describe the thought. I think quitting is the wrong way to go. I think watching the Boston Celtics not have energy yesterday against the Miami Heat appeared to look like they were quitting. I was listening to NBA greats like Robert Horry, I believe it was, who was speaking on it. Magic Johnson, I think, spoke on it. Shaq spoke on it. It's just one of those situations where you want to see, even if it's the opposite team, the Celtics, you don't want to see guys quit. So when you see guys quit and you know you got another game to play, it redirects your thinking, is essentially what I'm here to say. Watching the Celtics waltz into the Miami Heat building and just not really play hard at all in the conference finals, just get dejected by just a stronger, mentally tougher team, I know the difference. If you guys follow me, one of these random videos I've made over the last 48 hours, I mentioned something along the lines of, I didn't expect for my team to quit, and I don't expect anybody to quit in this situation. That was something along the lines of that. I was talking about the Celtics. But it's one of those situations where they really walked into there, didn't have any energy, probably ran out of gas, and as a result, it just didn't look like they wanted it. Gas is a big part of that. That's just something I wanted to say. I didn't hear anybody say that the Boston Celtics were tired. I didn't hear anybody say that the Boston Celtics were lethargic. I didn't hear anybody say that the Boston Celtics were overused and didn't have enough of their backups involved throughout the course of the season to ensure they had enough gas at this time of year. And I look at our team and I say, we've done the same thing to ourselves in this series. When you're dealing with altitude, when you're dealing with the schedule's crunch, when you're dealing with players dealing with foot injuries and players that are struggling, you want to give yourself enough rest for those legs who are struggling in order to keep these guys fresh. And that's what we did to get us through the season. We use enough Winion, we use enough Troy to get us through the season. And when you get to the end, when everybody's exhausted, you want to remove players from the circumstance that you relied upon all years. That's another version of quitting, LA. It ain't just about the players going out there and not giving it their all or whatever. Where you see that, it's also about the things that people are doing to help give those players what they need so that they can. And with one game left to play, we still got time to fix that. I don't see no harm in using players that you didn't use all series long to give yourself a chance to win this particular game. Because the same people that helped me win throughout the season were not the same people I saw get their butt kicked in the playoffs. And I don't think the Denver Nuggets have seen my team. They ain't seen Winion Gabriel, they ain't seen Malik Beasley, they ain't seen Troy Brown, they ain't seen Mo Bamba, who will be returning tonight. It's just certain things about this team. It's like, okay, if they beat the Lakers, then why the hell haven't they seen the Lakers? They ain't seen the Lakers. We reacted to everything the Denver Nuggets did and were close throughout the series for doing so. If we would have used everything we had, does it not stand the reason why we may have had more to give the Denver Nuggets? And so these are the things I'm just looking at. With one game left to play, I'm like, we have a chance to get some of this right. Whether we win the game or lose, we got a chance to rectify some of this in the stats by getting back to who we were leading up to this. And letting the chips fall where they may. Get all the way to the end and turn into somebody else. And it's just like, all these times I think about, and when I've had certain conversations, this is how it goes for me on this content. I think about all different conversations I've had throughout the season leading up to this, and it's been hundreds of conversations. But then when you get to the last minute, it's like I don't have the same passion that I may have had on random Tuesday when we played the Sixers, or random Saturday when we played the Trailblazers or something. It may not be there as intense as it needs to be in the moment that it needs to be at. For myself, that's not acceptable as a talking head, because I need to be able to bring to you the energy that meets the day. And that's the same thing goes with the team. You had all the energy in the world for a game against the Clippers on a Thursday, but get all the way to the Eastern Conference Finals referring to the Boston Celtics and can't show up for the Heat on a Sunday when you're down 0-2. It's like, meet the intensity of the day. Find it in yourself to give this moment what it needs. Because leading up to this, you gave every moment what it needed. And that's how you got this far. I know Denver has us backed into a corner that we can't get out of by way of the statistics in front of us. But I do know that every team that is going to find their way out of this hole is going to start by looking themselves in the mirror and saying, the journey got me here. The journey I was on was the path I was on that led me here. I got to get back on track in order to get out of here. The same path that got me here will likely be the same path that gets me home. And your effort, your intensity, your desire, taking care of yourself beforehand so that you have it ready for that moment, all of those things need to be on point for any team that's going to come out of that hole that we're in. They have to have intent on being sharp for every possession. Every possession. They're going to take the freebies and they're going to stop hurting themselves. And then they're going to have the mindset that they can do it. When they win Game 4, they're going to come back and they're going to take every possession seriously in Game 5. Some things are going to have to fall in place, luck-wise, and if they do and they capitalize on it, they may have a Game 6 to play. In that Game 6, they have to do the same things every possession. Gotta get a little lucky. Gotta connect on the free ones. Can't give things away. If for some reason they're able to overcome all of that, at that point they would have found something on the team that had found something on them and should have a strong mental edge. And in Game 7, you got to be intentional with every possession and somehow got to have enough gas to see the path through, or you're still going to fall short after getting 3 straight. So that's what the Lakers have ahead of them. That's what's required. And it ain't about whether or not I believe they can do it. I'm just one person with a thought in my head. It doesn't really, in the grand scheme of things, it only matters what they believe and what they got left in the tank and in the gas to give us. I truly believe that we're at a point in this series where we have house money at this point. No one's expecting us to win. No one thinks we have nothing left. And everybody's writing us off. But this is what I know about the schedule that this team, both of these teams, are facing right now. Life comes at you fast. That's what I know. Just like we found ourselves in this 0-3 hole very quickly, because there's only one day in between each game, we can get out of this hole very quickly too. These games are going to start coming so fast at the Denver Nuggets. If they start dropping them, you're going to put more pressure on them than they would ever have imagined just by winning one single game in this series tonight. Because now they're going to be dealing with having to go back and forth to Denver on fatigue. Now they're going to have to deal with the fact that they got pressure to play better and it finally lost to a team that they seemed invincible in front of, even though they know they had losses possible and deficits accredited to them in every game they played against this team. They just couldn't close them. The Lakers suck at closing against the Nuggets. But if we overcome that, we win every game from here on out. Because that is what's gone wrong. When they had a 27-point lead in the first game, we erased that thing completely. But down the stretch of the game, we did bad things. The Nuggets were a better team in the last 3 minutes of the game. Game 2, not too much different. Not too much different. We had opportunities. We were up in that game. Up in that game for a short period of time. I don't have the stats in my head for game 2, but I do know we had a lead in that game. Felt like we could have won it. Did some things we had no business doing with D'Lo and stuff like that. And ultimately lost a close game. And then the last game, obviously we had plenty of opportunities. We had the lead for a good portion of the game. We were up. And in the end, as I said, Jokic and Murray called the plays. And again, they won a close game. That's a skill, as I've already said. It's a skill that we're no good at. It's a skill that they seem to be excellent at. But we need to overcome them in that way in order to beat them. We solved our rebounding issue to a degree. I think we solved it. We certainly kept them under 6 offensive boards in the last game and gave ourselves 11. So that's a sign that we did something major in this series as it pertains to us overcoming something we couldn't do in the first 2 games, because that's where they got us. So we love the progress in those areas. But we haven't been able to slow them down. We haven't been able to guard them properly. We haven't been smart enough to put the right matchups on the floor to give us the size comparable to keep up with those 3 forwards that they got, or the center and the 2 forwards, rather. We got no answer for Bruce Brown. We got no answer for KCP. And our guards have have not stepped up. D'Angelo Russell has been bad. Dennis Schroeder's been silent. Austin Reeves has been stepping up, but his plus minus and his turnovers were bad in the last game. Some of the turnovers that he had in the last games were key. The last game was key in us losing. So we need guys to make a decision. If you want to go to Cancun, then you can make everything that I've already said just solidified in truth, and all my videos will age well after game 3. All the videos I made about us being done and assessing the series and assessing our season, it will be just fine because we ended up getting swept. At this point, a loss is a loss is a loss, so whether we get swept or lose in game 7, it's going to hurt either way. But I think pride should be something about the players. The pride to want to keep on doing this. The pride to not be mentally fatigued, as to not want to go back to Denver. You should want to go back to Denver. Even though I know mentally you probably don't if you're the team. But getting swept is going to give you a different outlook for the offseason if you're Genie Bus. Some of these guys that want to be on the team want to get paid. Getting swept means something different when you're trying to crunch the numbers. Getting swept means something different when you think about the historical nature of what it is we're dealing with. I think with all the money that Jeannie's leaving on the table when she doesn't have an opportunity to play against the Celtics or the Heat. You know what I'm saying? Not just the league, but Jeannie. You're the Lakers. You got a chance to see the finals happen with the Celtics and LeBron James on your team. And we're never going to see that because we couldn't overcome the damn Nuggets. That's something that's going to really, really play back in the minds of a lot of people who really care about this stuff. Because that's an opportunity you don't let slip away, especially when you're trying to increase your revenue. trying to get some money in your pocket in a different way, trying to capitalize. You don't like seeing that. And of course, LeBron James versus the Heat again without the bubble. Lakers versus Miami. I mean, we always find a way to miss that matchup. Only in the bubble when it doesn't matter, with all due respect, when you can't take advantage of both of those fantastic locations. You can't never seem to make it happen. Damn Nuggets in the Heat, with all due respect to those two teams, I don't see that garnering proper viewing numbers. I got a bad feeling about that series, man, as it pertains to people actually watching it. They're not going to. I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't even care to see that. Really, I'll pay attention to it from afar. But like that doesn't move you at all. And don't get it twisted. I prefer it this way. I want randomness. I actually want to see the Nuggets and the Heat in the finals. Maybe I don't want to watch it, but I want to know that it's possible. You know what I mean? I do. And I want the NBA to just absorb those losses and take it on the chin and fix it so that more people are excited about more teams, instead of trying to oversaturate everybody with us and the Knicks or whoever else they want to, you know what I mean? I would rather it is. But at the same time, it's like I know the NBA wouldn't, and that's the point of view I'm coming from. I don't know. I think it's reasonable to think that the NBA is highly disappointed. Highly. But it is what it is, man. You know, the Nuggets are good enough, and that's it. And the Lakers are not, and that's been proven through 3 games. And what I want the Lakers to do is to, if they are capable, do something about that to give us a little more in the confidence bucket. You know, but here's the deal. It's up to them to not only want it, but to have already done enough so that they have enough to give it. And that's something that they can't rewind and do anything about. Are they going to be willing to take good shots tonight? Or are they still settling for bad ones? Are guys going to hedge, hard and go out there and defend with intentions? Or are they going to look like the Celtics? Or are they going to look like they did in Game 1 in the first half? I mean, these are things that's just like, yo, are we going to return to things that are not working just because we want to stick to it all the way out the door, Darvin? Because for sure, that's not something Laker fans are going to be happy with going forward. You've already done it for 3 games in this series with D'Angelo Russell. You did it with Beasley earlier in the season. It's just one of those situations where it's like, we got one game left. 1 game left. And here's the thing that Darvin's, I'm sure, understands. We want to see the Lakers succeed. And if you're playing and coaching well, we definitely want to see you succeed as well. So it's not even about rooting against you when I say this. But the Lakers tend to do things for optics. So what could be down the pipeline is the decision on Darvin Ham's coaching could already have been made, and people are waiting to the right time to execute so they look good. That could be what Darvin's looking at, could not be. But what I'm telling you is, it's been more than enough times throughout the course of the season where I said, yo, I do not like this line of thinking. Not how we're strategizing, not how the players look. And with that comes a desire to see somebody make us happy in that way. So as I look at Darvin, I say, man, they may not fire you, but the decision to fire you may be in place if this team come out here tonight and look like the Celtics. You know what I'm saying? That could be the case. I think Mazzulla is probably on his way out. That's a one and done situation, I think, because at the end of the day, a lot of what went wrong with the Celtics, from what I understand, was just horrible strategy, overshooting, lack of common sense with rotations, being completely outcoached by Spoelstra. Excuse me for that. And it's one of those situations where you look at Spoelstra and you say, well, if he was a rookie, obviously he'd be getting bumped by LeBron James in the corner, and we'd be trying to figure out if he really is that guy, because that's exactly how that went. Anybody remembers the first year with LeBron and Spoelstra, LeBron bumped that dude in front of all of us. Like he was, as he was going back to the bench, rammed his shoulder into his coach's shoulder when he was a rookie. It's like Spoelstra had to earn his way. He had to earn his way from the video room. He wasn't even a player. He wasn't a regular coach. This dude was a video guy, and I'm telling you, it's that get it out the mud mentality. It's that for which desperation and motivation, self-motivation, is manifested, that overcomes a lot of what it is that is just not that. It's just not that. And I'm looking at it, and I'm watching Jason Tatum, and as you know, the footage of him as he was walking into the building, he had on his white suit, and they stopped him and they asked him to give him a quote. What's one of your favorite quotes? And he says, "How bad do you want it?" And then proceeded to come in, and his team didn't perform. Some would say he didn't want it that bad, or what have you. But what came to mind when watching him as he was walking in was like, that brother don't look like he down 0-2. That brother looked like he's coming in from heaven. Like literally. He looked like he stepped off a cloud from heaven, and he's ready to walk into a basketball game. And my thing was, when you're going up against Jimmy Butler and you're going up against Eric Spoelstra, when you know those two guys' story, you understand that you had better come in a little more intent, a little more dirty, a little more. You can't look like you walked in from paradise. You know what I'm saying? You got to have a get it out the mud, not only attitude, but aura about you when you're trying to face that energy. He came in cool. He came in looking like he came from vacation. He looked like he had made $50 million before he walked in the room. And I'm telling you, if you don't have that self-manifested motivation in your gut, if you walk into the arena like that against them, this is what happens to you. That's what comes to mind to me. Guys are too comfortable, man. They're too comfortable. The environment where asset quality and load management and, you know, we play every other game maybe sometimes. That kind of thing. That attitude coupled with guys being overused, half of the damn backups not being used all season long, it just gets to a point where guys are like, man, I got $500 million in the bank. I got a beautiful family, seed, girlfriend, life. My home is an art piece. Basketball pays for all of that. How can I get up for a basketball game and my team ain't playing well, my coach ain't got it together, going up against Jimmy Butler and all that? How do I care? How do I care? And I really genuinely think we got some of that on our team too in LA. When I look at Anthony Davis, I see the same thing. And it ain't fair. Dudes are wealthy, man. Maybe it's just my perception. Guys are wealthy, but I just don't think the intensity, man. I don't see that desperation. And you can't manifest that, fam. You can't manifest desperation. You can't manifest self-motivation. You can't manifest get it out the mud and being comfortable in uncomfortable circumstances. You can't. That's why we look at guys like Michael and Kobe as such anomalies, because in the midst of all of their success and all it made them who they were still hungry, damn near desperate. Even when championships had already been won, even when guys had already been paid, they were still looking at the game like it was something they needed to prove themselves in regards to. I don't see that from Jason Tatum. I don't see that from Anthony Davis. You understand what I'm saying to you? Those guys don't exude that energy. And I don't know if that's fair, because I don't know them dudes from a can of paint. I don't know them dudes. But what I'm telling you is, it's just a difference. When you look at Jimmy Butler, you know that boy done been through something. You know he's comfortable in uncomfortable circumstances. You know you're going to have to fight for your life against him. And he's probably more comfortable doing it because he's been doing it for more often, for longer. It's like, You can't get it. You can't walk into an arena with a dude like that if you ain't got a couple scars. You can't even compete with him if you're not ready to meet him at his level. And so that's where my head goes when I looked at the Boston Celtics last night. I just felt like Jason Tatum was coming in from a cloud, man. He walked into that arena having to break his paradise. Like, I gotta leave heaven to go back out there and play basketball for y'all. Like, that's how I got the vibes. And it's like, yo, if you're gonna beat Jimmy, that can't even be the energy you walking in with. You gotta look like you done came from the other side of the places. You gotta look like you gotta be ready for the opposite of what you're comfortable with if you're gonna beat somebody like that. I just felt like guys came in exhausted and probably ready to get back to paradise. Probably ready to get back. You know what I'm saying? So that's how I felt about Jason Tatum yesterday. How bad did you want it? It's just not simple as how bad do you want it. It's about what you're willing to do to get it. Are you gonna close out harder? Are you gonna start quitting when the score is out of whack and you still got a game and a half to play for the season? One thing I say about the Lakers is they didn't quit on the basketball court. We down by 27. We coming back. You beat us because you got a particular skill that we don't have, and that's closing games, which is major, but it ain't everything. As it pertains to how we're assessing effort and how we're assessing how guys look in desperation, and that ain't everything. You gotta want it. You gotta fight. You gotta bring the fight to the other team. And I just know that if the Lakers don't do that tonight, we're gonna be singing a different song than we've been singing after 3 losses. Game 4 matters. How you end this season matters, LA. Whoever's on the floor gotta play hard. Whoever's on the floor gotta believe they can win. Whoever's on the floor gotta give it their all. We're asking you to. You know what I'm saying? I'm not demanding. I'm asking. I'm asking guys to step up and represent their last names properly when they go out on that court and you're down 0-3 and it don't look like you got no reason to keep fighting. You ready to go home, ready to get back to paradise. Think about your legacy. You think about the fact that you ain't never gonna get this season back. Jason Tatum's gonna go back to paradise. Paradise gonna always be there for him. But that basketball floor in the NBA, it will not. That's why that desperation plays so well into Jimmy's favor, because just by default, he gets to appreciate the moment a lot more than somebody who's thinking about paradise and getting back to it. He gets to appreciate that moment because his desperation is going to allow him to live in it in such a way that doesn't allow for him to take it for granted. So this is where I'm at with it. I'm not telling the Lakers go get Jimmy Butler next year. I'm not saying that. But I am saying that's the energy we need on this team, the desperation. It's why Kobe was so successful in the Laker land, because he had that naturally. While everybody was fawning over him, he was trying to bring himself to be the best player he could be. In every way possible, he knew how. And no matter how much people kept saying, we love you, Kobe, you're the best thing ever, he kept saying, I ain't good enough. I'm going to go out there and get better. I'm going to go get better. Even when everybody was saying, yo, you're the MVP, you're it, you're him. I'm putting in the work. I'm looking for self-motivating factors. I'm taking all bulletin board material. Any disrespect will be met with the most ferociousness. You know, that's the mentality it requires to be successful in LA as a superstar. While we're watching you, you need to be obsessed with the game so that you can deliver on the highest level. I don't think guys are really wired that way most of the time, and that's why a lot of guys don't really succeed. You got to really be motivated, man. And you can't have that quit or say die in you. Because as you do, you will fail. You know, and so I believe, excuse me, I believe that my throat is driving me crazy. But I also believe that the Los Angeles Lakers got a lot more to give the Denver Nuggets than they gave them. I also believe if we don't come out and front them 30 boards in the first game and proceed to shoot bad threes in the second game and proceed to put D'Lo back on the floor in the third game, we're looking at a series that could be flipped on its axis completely. Because all these games have been close, with the exception of Game 3 where they won by 11 even though it was close, I don't see any reason for us to not have another close game tonight if we want one. They've thrown everything at us and we still keep up. If we get lucky and find a way to beat them at their best attribute, which is win a game, they will look up on one day's rest and have to do it again. You know what I'm saying? Our backs are against the wall. We're already on our way out. If we start doing this, if for some reason we start tumbling a win or two together, that desperation is going to start becoming more comfortable to us, and that desperation is going to start becoming more uncomfortable for them. So these are things that you just hope transpire as your team goes out there and decides whether or not they have enough to give. These are the things you're thinking about when you see whatever shot selection is attempted tonight by our players, or whatever rebounding total you're going to see on the stat sheet tonight, or whatever turnover total may be available, free throw percentages. When we look at the stats at the end of tonight's game, we're going to know if this team showed up like that or not. We're going to know if they had the mentality of coming in from heaven and being disrupted from that piece, or the mentality like they're going to go up against some type of beast and earn their way into the East. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what's required. You get all the way to the Western Conference Finals, you can be satisfied. A lot of teams are satisfied, man. And all this year, all year long, I've been trying to fight with my team to have that mentality that we're going to be the ones that's eating, not the ones that's food. I think my team has made me proud through 3 games, even though we lost all 3 of those games, because I don't think that even in the midst of our self-inflicted wounds, I don't think we quit at all. I think we mentally were checked out. I think we did some things that we did uncharacteristically. I think some of our guys look like they don't have it anymore because of either age or fatigue or both. I'm just being honest. But at the same time, I also know how effective dudes can be. You know what I mean? I know how effective dudes can be. So it's like, in the midst of our frustration and the tall task that we have left, I think we have enough fresh legs to do heavy lifting. Fresh legs to do heavy lifting. But if coach is too terrified to play any of them, even though the results of what it is he is choosing to do is giving him the same failure that he's afraid of, if he's too terrified to play those guys in ways that absolutely help keep his team fresh, then this is what you end up getting. You find yourself in this situation right now. And that's exactly what it was. He was too terrified to play Troy. He was too terrified to play Winion. He was too terrified to play Malik, of whom I'm also very terrified to play. But it's not the point. It's like, because you've rendered these players useless, Vanderbilt, because you've rendered them useless, now you're leaning on players that don't even match up properly with the Nuggets. And that's a choice. That's a choice to go away from guys. It's a choice to believe in small ball. That's a choice to want to lean on D'Lo. You know what I'm saying? That's a choice to put Lonnie in 3-guard lineups, Schroeder in 3-guard lineups, D'Lo in 3-guard lineups. These are things that don't work. They ain't worked all year. And so when you get here and you're assessing your team and you say you're better than Nuggets, as I did, there's some reality to be had about the flaws of my team, man. There's some reality to be had about what they've already proven in regards to them not being a perfect squad. We've seen it all year. And so that's the only thing I want to say about just the frustration of what we're looking at. Is just where I went wrong, ladies and gentlemen, is I didn't do enough homework on the Nuggets when considering who they were. I gave too much credence to the good things about my team, not enough to the bad. And I didn't do enough homework on the Nuggets with a very, very intent opinion about their team not being very good because of what is there to see on the roster, which to this very second, is not very impressive. Just like the Heat. These are not the most impressive rosters in the world. Neither one of them. Half of their team could be replaced and they will improve. Which is scary when you really consider it. But that's the key. That's what I've learned this postseason. To look at these teams a little differently. To respect where they are when they're healthy. Because that's really what it is to understand about the Nuggets. If they were not healthy, they would not be here, just like everybody else. But because they're healthy, they are here, and they're beating everybody. So health is what's going to tell the story for us in this game, and health is going to be the story that tells us the rest of whatever is left for us. Because if we keep on running players out there who are not 100% healthy because we think they're more capable than guys who are just fresher right now, with fresher legs, then it will lead to us being swept. So, if coach is going to run Mo Bamba out there like 30 minutes tonight thinking that's going to be the answer for Jokic, he's going to get laughed out the room and probably fired for it. I just want to let everybody know that. Bamba's fresh off an ankle injury. He ain't played in 2 months, basically. And you're going to throw him out there against the best center on the planet. I do want to see him down there, but in certain rotations. As I've always wanted. Him and AD on the floor at the same time. Wenyen, Gabriel on the floor at the same time. Wenyen, Gabriel, and Vanderbilt on the floor at the same time. Yes, I know it gives us significantly deficient offensively. I do not give a damn. You know why? Because we're going up against the best offense in the freaking league. So we shouldn't be thinking about scoring. We should be thinking about slowing them down. To whatever degree we possibly can, given the fact that we have that as a strength, and most of our players are defensive-minded before they are offensive-minded. Most of them. Except for the ones Darvin wants to use, obviously. Troy Brown's a defensive player. Wenyen Gabriel's a defensive player. Vanderbilt's obviously a defensive player. Tristan Thompson's a defensive player. Shaq Harrison's a defensive player. All of the people he's not using are defensive players. And we're a defensive team. And we take all of our offensive players and shove them to the top of the list and say, please win for us. They don't. They can't rebound. You know what I'm saying? Effort is one thing. But when you're asking a guy to leave his paradise, when you're asking him to leave heaven and come play basketball, what you don't want is for him to have to answer to a coach that ain't got no sense of what will help the team. Demoralizes the squad. And I can't tell you how many times Darvin demoralized me with some of his rotation decisions in these playoffs. Particularly with D'Angelo Russell. Particularly with not getting away from non-rebounding lineups. And that's what I'm going to call them tonight. That's what I want to call those lineups. It's not just small ball lineups. Because that don't really tell the story. It's non-rebounding lineups. Punting rim protection, as we often have done over the last 2 years, which I really, really want the Lakers to never do again for as long as I live. Never do this again. Never leave us without rim protection. So that's where I'm at with that. I just, I'm a Laker fan who's very pleased about being in the Western Conference Finals, but I'm also a Laker fan who's been alive for 7 NBA championships. And I'm telling you, man, I have to psych myself into being appreciative of this. I have to psych myself into that. Because at the end of the day, I just feel like this team is so much better than we've shown. I believe that to the highest order. I think the Denver Nuggets are a team that you can expose and exploit. And I don't think we've done enough of that at all. Based on the very severe and glaring weaknesses they have in their bench, we should have been able to expose that by now. I do not understand how it is so difficult to get some of those guys on the floor. I mean, this is a damn playoffs. Mike Malone should not be able to get away with shrinking his bench against us. Against the Minnesota Timberwolves, who didn't have half of their bench, perfect. Against the Suns, who literally didn't have much of a bench, perfect. Against the Lakers, who I can argue are the deepest team in the league, they should be forced to show us who's back there. There should be some Conchars on the floor. It should be some Watsons on the floor. It should be some some Jacksons on the floor, DJs on the floor. We let Mike Malone off the hook, hiding half of that damn roster, Darvin. And you hid half of your roster to dumb it down. He should have been getting 8 and 9 looks. And that's what it is. I'm throwing Winion at Gordon just to push him around for 3 possessions. And then I'm sitting him down. And then I'm going to put Tristan Thompson on Gordon to push him around a little further in the second quarter. Then I'm sitting him down. Then I'm putting Braun on Gordon to push him around for a little while. And I'm sitting him down. Then I'm putting Troy on Gordon a little while. You see what I'm saying? I'm throwing so many different looks at these dudes for no other reason than I know that that's one body going up against a mini. Boom, 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 boom. You're going to get worn down with one day's rest every night. Worn down. Who the hell is D'Lo wearing down physically? That's what I want to ask. We're going up against a team that's heavier than us, bigger than us, stronger than us. And you're going to throw our lightest, softest, struggling-ass player out there and don't even play him to his strengths. He's only attempting 3 3-point shots. That's what he's good at in this league. And you ain't even got him shooting. Got him out there doing stuff that he cannot do correctly, trying to guard people twice his size, twice as fast as him. Got him on people like Bruce Brown getting blown past. This type of stuff is like I was in a very zen place that day. I had got, for game 3, I had received some really tough news in my life, and I was in a very prayerful and peaceful place. So I was coming at you guys with a really, I want to be kind. Today, it's like, it's just a different day, man. I got that aggression back. I want to see my team perform on the highest level, and I want to see them get a game in this series, and I want to see reasonable rotations that take into account the things I've been talking about here. I don't like that we left so much on the table in regards to this Nuggets team. I loathe it. I look at too much of what could have been done, never imagined, never tried. And I just say, you know what? My natural inclination is to want to remove people for stuff like this. That's just how I'm comfortable with handling things. You did wrong, or you did something I didn't like, or you caused me to fail. I want to replace you. I look at what you did. I ain't like it. This, that, and the third. That's how I often equate fixing my problems, is replacing whoever the hell caused them. And so that's where I'm at. I want to see our team come out and do well, so Darvin doesn't have me feeling that way at the end of the season. You know what I mean? If he can come back and get 2 games out of this series, or come back and play a overtime game tonight where we have a real chance to win and our guys make us proud, maybe we can leave this series feeling like, ultimately this wasn't a complete and utter collapse. Like we ain't just roll over like the Boston Celtics did. And I don't want to speak defeatist, but I just seen enough from my team to feel like that might be what we see tonight. Guys just might be mailing it in. That's kind of how, we've had that trait sometimes. And we've also been the guys that wake up, come out and fight, just like Austin Reeves said. He knows who's in that locker room. He know what he going to see today, rather. I don't, Austin. I don't know what I'm going to see. I know what I'm going to see out of you. I know you're going to fight. You know what I mean? But I don't know what I'm going to see from my stars. I don't know if LeBron James is going to be settling for 3-point shots. It ain't going to fall. I don't know if he's going to be feeling his age in his foot tonight. I don't know if AD's going to want to play well. What is it? Game 4? It's an even game, right? He'd probably attempt like 9 shots. These type of things is like, I think what's hard for me as a spoiled Laker fan is to accept that I'm a runner-up, that these traits are to be appreciated, because there are a lot of teams that didn't get this far and they didn't have this talent, and they're on the couch. You know what I mean? They're waiting for the draft. And if we go back into a place where we're looking for more Jimmy Butlers, more Kobe Bryant type personalities, we might not find the talent, and we might be in the draft. while I'm sitting here with our guys that's coming from hell, ready to fight, they may not be good enough. And that's real. So there's no real solution. You just want our guys to wake up and be here right now while the team is as good as it is. Show up and show some perseverance like we've had the season we've had. We came out of a 2-10 deficit. You want to get swept out of the Western Conference Finals? You come this far to get to fall down and look just as bad as you did when you started, basically, in the form of losing? However losing looks, you started off inept and you're going to end inept on this level. Is that how you feel? I just think that the Los Angeles Lakers got a game to win tonight. I really do. Against a team that's simply better than them. It wouldn't be the first time we beat a team that's better than us. There's a lot of teams that was better than the start of the season, and we got some wins to get back in the series. Get back out of that hole we were in, rather. I just want to see this team show the same DNA it did at the start of the season when we pulled ourselves out of that hole. I want to see some remnants of that pride meet me tonight so that my season doesn't end in complete and utter sweep style. I want the team that showed up and pulled themselves out of that hole to show up and pull themselves out of this one. At least tonight. At least when the Denver Nuggets probably looking at trying to hoist the Western Conference trophy on our floor. At least make them go back home to Denver and do it. That's my thing, man. Could we have a little more, please? Just a little more. I don't need everything. I just need I need to end this season having known that I wasn't completely and utterly off about my team being good enough to compete with a team that I think we're better than on paper. I understand they have those mismatches, but I also understand that we ain't use our size. I've already said it. We ain't use it. You can tell me that we don't have the size to match up with Gordon, Porter, and Jokic, and I'll believe you because Jokic is that heavy. But then when I look at the forwards that we ain't used, I realize it's not that we didn't have the size, we just didn't trust it. It's not that we didn't have the size, it's just that Darvin Ham didn't believe it would be able to execute his system. A system that, by all accounts, didn't necessarily get me here. The players got me here, the system didn't. In fact, the system was a deterrent to those players getting me here. I think Darvin Ham has a great opportunity tonight to prove to us that the system ain't the only thing he knows how to do. I think he has an opportunity tonight to trust his players just like Coach Malone trusted his players. And I'm wondering if those players are to be trusted tonight or if they're on their way to Cancun. I don't think we've seen the last of LeBron James if we lose this game tonight or lose this series. I don't think we've seen the last of AD. I don't think we've seen the last of Rui Hachimura. I don't think we've seen the last of Austin Reeves. But I'm telling you, the chances that we have seen the last of those guys aren't all that bad. They aren't all that bad. With the new hard cap rules that they got with the new collective bargaining agreement, it is a lot more difficult to simply resign people now, y'all. That's what I've come to understand. You cannot go over your hard cap. It's not even about whether or not you can get certain players. If you reach a certain point, you won't have the money to do it. It won't be possible. You'll have to get rid of certain people to bring certain people in. For example, the Kyrie Irving thing, I'm now aware that if we sign Kyrie Irving to his salary, we won't be able to sign him to his salary because we'll be over that hard cap. I think it's $160 million. I think that's what Elder was telling us. So it's a very, very specific provision or some type of monkey wrench specifically in the way of us doing certain things that we would have been able to do just simply last year. So when I tell you it's going to be harder to keep our team together than it ever has been before, that's exactly what I mean. The chances of you losing Rui Hachimura and Austin Reeves are much higher than they ever would have been before this offseason. The NBA is trying to deter teams from keeping super teams, it seems, while simultaneously trying to help teams who have drafted a lot of young players have opportunities to keep those players without losing them. And so it's a lot of different stuff that they've done with this new CBA that should make it significantly more difficult to build and keep for us. And so I just think it's a good chance we lose somebody that we don't expect to lose, man. Now that I've heard that conversation, I just wanted to bring that to the table. Say, yo, we're going to be disappointed. Somebody's gone. I don't know who it is, but somebody's gone. It might be Rui, it might be Austin, it might be D'Lo. But D'Lo probably, that's up in the air, man. I don't really understand the logic there. I'm still trying to gather enough information to help understand why I must re-sign him. Why that cap space does me no good letting him walk. I don't understand it. Because at the end of the day, when we let Juju walk, I thought it was a bad idea. Because he's another asset that we did that with, where we just let him go to New Orleans for nothing. So I regretted that, but I don't think D'Lo's that kind of player, man. Not after what I saw. I don't think so. I don't think you're better for signing him just because you're afraid to lose him. Because if you sign him to the wrong contract, you're stuck. So for me, it's like I'm more or less letting him go. That sign and trade seems reasonable, obviously, but either way, he out. For me, I'm not going through that again. Not if I can't play you in the playoffs, bro. I don't need you on my team. I don't care how good you shoot. If I can't utilize you properly when it matters most, we're Lakers. We're not even a regular season team, so it don't matter. So that's really what it comes down to. I need guys who are ready for war in the playoffs, not just in the regular season. You can't be bashful in the playoffs, getting punked around, everybody attacking your psyche and all that. Nah, dude. And then you want to get $25 million from me? $20 million? Nah, bro. Nah, we ain't doing that. We ain't doing that. It just comes down to a point where you just have to say, no, I got to do what's best for my team, man. It ain't even about shunning the player or sending him away or making him feel like he ain't. None of that. I just got to make sure the cap is straight so they don't hit me with them issues, you know what I mean, that don't allow me to build any further. And that's exactly what that is if we sign any of our guys to trash contracts and they can't perform. So for those who are saying don't let D'Lo walk, I still need to be further convinced of the logic there because I don't see it. They're telling me I can't afford to not let him go because I've traded for him and the asset's going to walk. No, the asset doesn't walk. The cap space vacated by the asset leaving comes in. And with that cap space, I can make trades to get better, fill that space, and attach picks to receive it. Like, there's a lot of things I can do to make my team a lot better on my books if I don't sign anybody to no bad contracts and keep my cap space. Me trading away assets to get that player last year is not a signal for me to double down on a bad contract with that same player just because those assets went out. I think that's the logic that a lot of the NBA engages in, and I don't understand it. If there's some provisions that kick in or something like that kicks in because of this, then of course I'll amend my thought. But until I'm aware of something that would otherwise make it so that this is a negative, letting a struggling player walk and not sign them to a bad contract and keep my damn cap space in my pocket, yeah, I don't see the logic. I just don't. The only loss I see is if D'Lo leaves, goes somewhere else and plays better. As to which I'm not sure he would have had that same dynamic if we would have kept him. But I do know I would have had him on a bad contract if he struggled or had more injuries and stuff like that, which I think are coming down the pipeline. So it's like, why do I not keep my money? And it's like, well, you're not going to be able to replace him. I don't care about replacing him. I want my money. I can trade somebody and get back something I want. I can match salary in other ways. You know what I'm saying? There are ways to make my cap space filled with something that I want rather than just give it to something I don't. Just because I made trades and now I got to justify it. Like that justification garbage is going to keep you losing. Justification garbage is going to keep you in a position where you're not winning the games you're in. You're paying for players, and you get caught up in the pay for players mentality that you forget that the players have to play. It's not about, the game is not to get the players on the team. The game is about getting the players on the team and then from there putting them together cohesively so that they can win a damn championship. And that second half of that part seems to be lost about my team, it seems, when it comes to this particular conversation with this particular type of player. So we need to particularly let his ass walk. Unless there's something in the way of that, which would make it not logical for us to do so. But as far as I can tell, if everything is the way I see it, I'm not bringing that dude back. Not after what just happened these damn playoffs. And no. I like spending my money on wise ways. I don't throw my money away. That's throwing money away, Lakers. Let's be real. Sorry, D-Lo. It is what it is, man. We tell the truth. So that's what it is, man. Name on the front, not the name on the back, bro. I do not care who you are. If you can't help us win, then that's just what it is. We got to move on from you. Bron, D-Lo, I don't care who you are, bro. If you're done, or if you can't perform, I got to find somebody who can. So the jury's out. Guys are going to have to show us tonight. The game is at 5:30 or is it 6:30? Check for yourself. Whatever the time the last 3 games were, it's the same time tonight. I think it's 5:30. The Lakers are going to show up and do whatever it is they're going to do. They're going to give you whatever they got. The gas is going to either be there or not. Coach is going to either shrink the bench as he's been doing or continue. You know what I mean? Stubborn people do stubborn things. He's been stubborn, so I'd expect stubborn. And I expect the same results to come with stubborn. And that's very unfortunate because I really want my team to succeed, but I don't see it. And I don't lie to people. But I hope that they're offended by this. I hope they watch this entire video, be offended by it. I hope they watch all them damn videos, be offended by it, come out and play hard and win. That's all I want to do is motivate the team to do the opposite of what it is I believe they're going to do. That's all I want. My pessimism, but at the end of the day, traits are trait. Guys show me who they are, and all year long I've been telling you these guys have a trait that makes them reside on a plate. They food, man. And Jamal Murray has been eating all series long, and Jokic has been coasting. That's what's scary. Yeah, I know Jokic ain't had a good game in this series since game 1, right? For his standards. He hasn't. He's actually he's actually playing average for his standards right now. So it's just like, man, Genie got some work to do. Because if these guys go out here and lay an egg and look soft and old, I'm telling you, I don't see no fruit in running it back like that. I don't. As much as we talked about bringing everybody back, it just comes to a point where if you know guys are going to have injury issues next year, you know dudes are going to be running out of gas around this time of year next year, even if we are good enough. What the heck are we going to go down that path for, man, if we're not good enough? Why pay as much as it's going to cost to make the team as good as it's going to be if who we're paying to deliver can't deliver? So that's what it really comes down to. That's what I have to say. It ain't personal. I like everybody on the team. I've grown to like guys more now than I did when they first got here. You know, I want to see them win the championship. But I just look and see what the guys have shown me all year, and it's only but so much belief that they really deserve to be had in them. It's only but so much. Like you put some belief in the Lakers, but you don't throw your whole soul into the Lakers because they ain't throw their whole soul into strategizing properly against these various teams all year long. They were half backsiding it the whole time. The whole time. So this is as far as you get when you do that, unless you start doing things differently now, better now, smarter now. Change your stripes as a team now. And hope it ain't too late. So that's really what it is, man. You know what I mean? I want my team to show up, show out, and believe in themselves. Come out and beat this team like they're supposed to on paper. Like we've been waiting for them to do since we came into this damn series. So that's pretty much what I gotta say, man. No X's and O's. I ain't breaking nothing down. I did all that. No. Now when you get all the way to the Game 4 of the Western Conference Finals and you don't have a single damn win. No. I ain't breaking down no X's and O's. I need my team to show up, have some heart, and play like their lives on the line. Play like their back against the wall. Your back's against the wall. For the first time since the play-in tournament days when we were trying to fight into the play-in tournament, we've been here before. Maybe not against a team like this, but we do not see ourselves as a deficient team if we're playing hard and playing smart. I want to see Anthony Davis give me everything he got tonight. I want to see LeBron James play smart. I want to see D'Angelo Russell sitting down. For real. And I want to see Rui Hachimura get the ball more. I want to see Austin Reeves continue his fantastic play this season, postseason. I want to see Dennis Schroeder step up. I want Vanderbilt to be on the floor longer than 11 minutes tonight. Even if he isn't doing a lot offensively, he can turn his defense into offense. And I'm going to say this, and I've said it many times. I think the Lakers score more when they look defense to offense. The evidence have shown me, to my eyesight to you, that the Lakers score 127 points when they play good defense. And when they look for offensive lineups, they usually walk out of there scoring under 110 points. It's consistent. It's Darvin. It's data. So that's why I'm like, look, Darvin got one more game, potentially one more loss. He got one more loss. And then we're going to start talking about the offseason in ways that don't have him a part of it, man. I'm just being honest. He's had a good postseason for the most part, but this Nuggets series negated a lot of what happened in the first 2 series just by how absolutely inept we looked out there. And how he returned the stuff that just clearly did not work. And how that had been the trait we've kept all season long. So yeah, man, Darvin got one more loss, bro. And then we're going to be moving on there on this channel. Just like we do with every other coach, we move on from when we don't like what we see, man. It ain't personal. I don't care if you're black coach, white coach, brown coach, green coach, blue coach, purple coach. I don't care what your color is, bro. I want people to know that. I couldn't care at all. We don't move like that on this channel. We fire everybody that needs to be fired. We hire anybody that needs to be hired. We want winners. You can come off a spaceship and be an alien and coach this team to a championship. And I promise you, I'm going to be singing your praises and want you extended. I don't care. I don't discriminate. Now, when it comes to how guys are hired, we'll pay attention to certain things, look kind of funny, whatever, if guys, circumstances. But as it pertains to who you come down to, if it's on the up and up and they can do the job, I want them here. That's how I feel about players, coaches, everybody. Ownership, I don't care, bro. Just deliver. Deliver and respect what it is that we're dealing with, which is a battle for the championship with the Celtics. Not anybody else. It's always green that we're looking at if we know what we're doing here in purple and gold. And if you're not trying to keep us ahead of them in championships, if you're not intent on keeping that rivalry in mind, you're not fit for LA. I'm gonna make that very clear. If you don't see that as the bigger picture, then you're on an arms race for championships against the green team over there in Boston. If you don't see that, and you're coming here with anything else on your mind as it pertains to your bottom line goal, then you're not doing this right. You're not doing this right. That stands for everybody. Fans, players, coaches, ownership, everybody. If your mind ain't on overcoming their championship glory, you're doing this completely wrong. Because that is the number one thing that we're dealing with here in purple and gold land. That's the number one thing the Lakers are dealing with. Beyond everything else, historically, is simply that championship number that they got and we got at 17. And I'm telling you, neither one of these teams are in position to get even a single win in the conference finals. And that, my friends, is a disgrace to everybody who won either one of those purple and gold or green colors. You disgraced them by getting swept out of the conference finals to the likes of teams that weren't even around back then when we was battling. The Miami Heat weren't even around, yo. The Denver Nuggets were in the ABA or some weird stuff. They've never won a single championship. They are not supposed to overcome us any year. Let me make that very clear. They ain't never supposed to overcome us any year. And you embarrass us by allowing that to happen. Just being real. Somebody needs to say this. Somebody needs to bring this to the table, because this is the real Laker energy, man. Not we're happy to be here like a lot of fans are. Go to the Kings if that's your mentality. We are dominant. So I'm feeling like I gotta bring to the table yet again the real essence of what this purple and gold thing should be about. Championships and overcoming the guys in green. That's it. That's what it should be always about. So that's what I gotta say, man. You go out there and do whatever you're gonna do. You know what I mean? We'll be ready for it either way at this point. But I wanted to come here and give you guys a ridiculous amount of content today to start this morning, because I just don't feel like the Los Angeles Lakers have shown me that they're a quitting team, but they have shown me that they are a team that's looking to help fill the bellies of the other team. And there's nothing that I hate more in sports than being food. My name is BDL44. I thank you all for watching.